Welcome to the Alpine Church of Spiritual Living. I am going to be reading the thought for the week, and those of you in the room, if you could join me when it gets down to the bottom, there in the bold area, to say that with me. A prosperity consciousness produces success in all areas of life, in our creative endeavors, physical, mental, and emotional health, supportive relationships, and financial stability. To achieve a prosperity consciousness for most of us takes taking deliberate steps to achieve our goals and our desires. One thing to keep in mind is to always be open to having our goals and desires be finessed by the infinite. In other words, as we state our goals and desires, state this or something better. One of the most valuable ways we can work in tandem with the infinite, God, our higher self, or whatever label you wish to call it, is to take the time to meditate on a daily basis. Meditation calms the mind and allows you to be available to access and experience the wholeness of life and the truth of your being. If you're a beginner, take it easy at first. It is recommended to start by sitting quietly for 15 to 20 minutes. Sit in an upright position away from noise distractions. Doing it first thing in the morning helps set a priority intention and gets your day started on the right track. You may want to select a mantra to help focus your attention initially. This can be a word such as peace. This is what I use frequently. Say it silently to yourself. Another technique is to focus on your breathing and repeat silently on the inhale, God is, and on the exhale, I am. If other thoughts come up, acknowledge them and gently release them. I keep a journal by my chair to jot down ideas and inspirations that come to me during meditation. You might also check out the free app, Insight Timer, which has thousands of guided meditations, courses, live events, music, etc. Once you go beyond the beginner stage, you can enjoy sitting in the silence for 30 minutes to an hour, bringing you a glorious experience of just simply being. The benefits of meditation are highly documented and are worth their weight in gold, so to speak. Say with me, I resolve to honor myself enough to establish a regular meditation routine. I look forward daily to feeling and experiencing my true being and self. 2022 is my year to be new. So as we are progressing this month through our prosperity information that Roy Eugene Davis has given us, I want to today focus on the value of quieting our minds, of simply being. I have a question for you. How many regular meditators do I have in this room? Oh, yay. Good. That's good to know. And I want to ask you, why do you do it? And you can respond. Give me a word or two as to why you meditate regularly.
To be centered.
To be centered.
Mine's balanced.
And balanced.
Clear for the day.
Clear for the day. Yes, Mary Kay.
Connected.
Connected. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Present. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Great answers, guys. For those of you who don't have that technique or that availability of having a regular meditation time, tell me why you don't. Priorities. Okay.
I know what mine was.
What was yours?
Before I did it, I was always going to get to it.
You were going to get to it.
Yeah.
So how do you get to it now?
I do it before I move.
Before you move.
I do it right straight, wake my eyes up, set my timer, and
You set your timer, wake your eyes up. Now so you're doing it in a lying down position?
yeah, I always do because I get so relaxed I fall over.
Oh, fall over when you're seated. Okay. Well, I know that there's a lot of people who say they don't meditate because they fall asleep. And so my suggestion would be, for most people, it would be easier to sit up in a upright position so that you don't find yourself falling asleep, because I know that's one of the, I'm going to use the word excuses that people use. You know what an excuse is? A skin of a reason stuffed with a lie. That's what Pauline Beauregard's recipe for an excuse is. And so this morning, I'm hoping by the end of this presentation that you will have a more, those of you who don't do a regular meditation, will have more of an insight, have more of a realization of the value of it in your life, and set the priority. I like that word that you used, because life is about priorities. And when you do it first thing in the morning, it's done. You don't have to think about it later. You don't have to make time for it, because it's already accomplished. And it really does set the tone for the day. It does balance you. It does connect you. It gives you that internal guidance system that we all seek. And why is that? Because we are all spiritual beings. That's what we are, this infinite being, and it resides within us, so you can't see it. You know, it's that spirit form, but it wants to be fed. It wants to be nurtured. It wants to be nourished. It wants to connect. It wants to know what this higher self that we are, it wants to know what is the direction that this higher self has for my life this day. Roy Eugene wrote, remember that you are a spiritual being abiding in the ocean of infinite consciousness. Think about that. You're abiding in the ocean of infinite consciousness. And that the primary purpose of meditation practice is to clarify your awareness. To clarify your awareness. And it's a practice, remember. A few weeks ago, I think I shared with you what Lois Cowan would tell us, that practice makes perfect is not quite right, because she always said, perfect practice makes perfect. Well, I want to throw in another nuance to that right now, because my mentor, Martha Creek, spoke this in a class that she was giving, and it just resonated with me so much. I wrote it down. She said, practice is progress. Practice is progress. In other words, you don't have to be perfect with your meditation practice right away. If you're a beginner, like I said in the thought for the week, then just sit down and do your best. It does take intention, though, and it doesn't have to be that long. I know for me, though, they say to the beginners take 15 to 20 minutes. Well, it takes 15, 20 minutes for my monkey mind to just stop chattering. And so, but once you ferret through all of those to-dos, and that's why I do like keep a journal there, because when something comes up, I can jot it down, and then I can release it. I don't have to think about it again. I don't have to try to remember it. And but then once you get beyond that, and you stay with the intention of just being in the silence and bringing in the intention of feeling the energy of the divine, to feel to being that observer, you see, to be the observer of just noticing that life is flowing in a very natural state, in a very perfect way. And so we allow ourselves to feel that feeling of being supported, of being loved. When we were listening to Bethany this morning, you know, to feel that love surrounding us. Many times, and I do use that word for me as a mantra, is peace, because I'm telling my brain, you know, peace, be still. Go into the silence, just peace, be still. And recognize that life is order. And that when I unite with that, I, in my life, have order. I find myself the other day, I opened up a drawer and it was stuck a little bit. I thought, what's going on here? Took everything out of the drawer, organized it. There were flashlight in there. Well, the batteries don't work, so I replaced the batteries. That wasn't on my to-do list, but it was something that this initiative that is within me said, let's do it. And that's what you'll find, is that you'll be able to go with the flow of what life is presenting you. So I'd like you to, those of you who are taking the time, the energy, the intention to do your meditation, I commend you for that. Keep going, because what will happen is, as I said in the thought, you can sit there for 15 minutes or so and check it off the list. However, if you get into that deep feeling of total support and peace, you won't want to leave. There's a sweetness there that just keeps you nourished and fed. I wanted to share with you what one of the things that Roy Eugene Davis wrote in his section on this. And remember, we're talking this whole month about prosperity. This idea of doing meditation and going within into the silence has got to be one of the precursors to having a prosperity consciousness. Because prosperity is success in all areas of our life. And so he says, repeated practice soon enables the alert meditator to discern and experience the difference between the permanent, real, pure, conscious nature, the essence of being, and that's capitalized B, and the conflicted, fragmented states common to ordinary states of awareness. Let's think about that for just a minute. The ordinary states of awareness are fragmented. I mean, how many times is your mind bouncing all over the place, right? And so that's our normal state. When this difference is recognized by attentive practice, it is possible to choose to be established in awareness of being at all times, even when engaged in activities and relationships. So he's pulling this energy of what we're experiencing in the silence, in our aloneness, into our everyday relationships, into our conversations. Perceptions are then more accurate. Intellectual powers are enhanced. Intuition is more reliable, and actions are performed skillfully and effectively with less effort. I will tell you that if one of your excuses for not meditating is that I don't have the time, you will recognize that when you meditate, time lengthens. You have more time. You have the time to do everything that needs to be done. So recognize that, accept it. Davis also writes that spiritual growth without a prosperity conscious is not possible. Wow. Spiritual growth without a prosperity consciousness. What we're talking about this month is a prosperity consciousness, being successful in every area of our lives, because we're infinite beings. What we want to look at is the bigger picture of life. What we want to look at is the wholeness of life, that there's no differentiation between myself and everyone else or everything else on this planet, because each and every one of us has this spark of the divine in us, in it. I don't care if it's a rock or a tree or what it is. That spark of the divine is there. And when we go into this field of openness, of wholeness, we then relate with everything. And what happens is that we release the need for judgment. We release the need for separation, because we recognize that everyone is my brother, is my sister, that is my counterpart. And that if I see in them an imperfection, that's my judgment. And that's coming from me. So we need to allow ourselves to ferret out all of these judgments, all of these ways that keep us from being prosperous, from being successful. Ernest Holmes wrote a wonderful prosperity affirmation, and I have some copies of it with me today if you want to take one home. I also asked Mike to put it on our website, so if people are watching today on the internet or whatever day, that you can pull it up on our links page, okay? So he wrote, "Divine abundance is forever manifest in my affairs. Today I expect every good thing to come to me, for I know that divine abundance is forever manifesting itself in my affairs. I am keeping my whole mind and thought and expectation open to new experiences, to happier events, to a more complete self-expression. Everything that belongs to spirit, I accept. Everything that partakes of the nature of divine reality, I claim as mine. I identify with success, and I prosper in everything I do. As I give thanks for the good now flowing into my life, I gladly share that good with others. The more I give, the more I receive. I experience a deeper consciousness of peace and security, for I know that I am in the embrace of a warm, loving presence, forever seeking an outlet through me. My cup runneth over. I exist in limitless possibility. I have limited possibility, period. I have copies of this. I want you to realize that when we program ourselves to expect to be prosperous, the universe responds. Know that everyone and everything is divine, including you, no matter if you think you're perfect or not. Remember, God made everything, and what did God say when it was made? It was good, right? So regardless of our judgment, we are all good. I have a knowing within me that all of us are doing the best we can do at each and every moment. I agree with the saying, I don't know where it came from, that if you knew better, you'd do better. And I like us to think about releasing the judgment of having to be perfect. I was reading one of Richard Rohr's meditations talking about perfection and that God loves everything. It doesn't have to be perfect in our estimation. So it's easy for me, I shouldn't say easy, but it has become easier for me to forgive trespasses against me, so to speak. Things that I could be angst about, things that I could bring hold on. And I just let it go because it's not worth it. Because everyone is moving at their own rate and their own speed of allowing this divinity that is within us out. Some people don't even know it, honestly. But hopefully us here are taking the time and the intention to let this spirit that is within us, perfect as it is, out in every way. And if we miss the mark, okay, let's keep going. I attended a memorial service yesterday for one of the members of the Alpine Chorale who passed away suddenly in December. And I was sitting next to one of the girls in the chorale that I hadn't seen in quite a while. In fact, she lives in Temecula. And she sat next to me and she said, "Now, Gay, there's something I know that happened with you, and it was really bad and really sad, but I don't remember what it was. What was it now?" And I said, "Well, I think that you're referring to the passing of my son suddenly. And she goes, oh, that's right. Was he 50 or something? I said, no, he was 39-year-old who had a 3-year-old daughter. And and so we're talking about, what happened in the situation and so forth. And I told her, I have this innate belief that all of us come to this earth plane at the right and perfect time, and that we leave this earth plane at the right and perfect time and the right and perfect way. It's so solid within me that, granted, sometimes I don't like the choice of the timing or the way, but that's not up to me. That is up to that individual's soul. And knowing that Burke is on to greener pastures, he's on to whatever newness is in his life, in his soul life, that's what he's experiencing. We also get to hear from him. Did I tell you about the little car? I gave Adeline a little car when she was 1 year old, and it's a Minnie Mouse, and it's basically just you sit on it and you scoot. But it has these buttons that you can push that make the horn sound, and it makes all these other little funny sounds and everything. Since Burke has passed, that car is sitting in the room, and it just starts going off. And depending on what's in the room, I was putting socks on Adeline the other morning, and when my kids were little, I would do this little chant, the heel in the heel and the toe in the toe, the heel in the heel and the toe in the toe. And I was doing that with her. Sure enough, that car just started beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop, boop. Nobody's around it. So that gives me confirmation that that spirit is here. So recognize that we are all spirit, all of us, all trying to do the very best we can do. And so knowing that, for me, that our time on earth is not to be known to us consciously, that gives me peace. That gives me peace that there can be a letting go and a knowing that God is in charge. I was listening to a CD that a friend of mine gave me, and I highly recommend it to all of you. It's called Graceful Passages, and it's about their individual tracks that are speaking and music that are a meditative type of guidance to transition, to leaving this body. And they're fabulous. It's miraculous. I listened to the whole thing, and it's a little over an hour long to listen to all the tracks. But I would highly recommend Graceful Passages. I don't know that you can buy the CD anymore. I think they have it just available on a download. But to know that this body is housing me temporarily, and that I will continue to go on to the next level of experience. So I'm asking us today to look for the bigger picture in life, to look for the wholeness in life, to release judgment of ourselves and others, and to know that practice is progress. So let's take a deep breath. Let's close our eyes. And let's make that silent intention within ourselves that daily I will go within into the silence and allow myself to be fed, to be nurtured, to be loved by the divine that is within me and all around me. And I know that as I do this, and I open my eyes up after this session of however long it is, that I will have enough time, I will have enough energy, I will be full and complete in knowing that this divine energy within me is living this life for me, as me, and through me. So just feel that. Accept that. Feel the peace of it. Feel the wholeness of it. Allow yourself to be washed, bathed, nurtured. Now take a nice deep breath again and open your eyes and know that this life is for each and every one of us, that we are here to experience the blessings that it has for us, which are joy, which are peace, which are abundance, which is prosperity in every area of our lives. Now go out and have a fabulous day. It's a beautiful one. Namaste.